everyone! So my name is Lydia and I'm here today to tell you about my testimony. I don't talk about my testimony as much as I feel like I should, so I think that this is the perfect opportunity for me to start doing it. So I'm going to start right from the beginning. I was born and raised in the Catholic Church. I guess you can say that. A lot of the things that I knew about the doctrine, being Catholic and things like that all came from school. So I was baptized into the Catholic Church when I was a little baby, and then I went to a Catholic school up till grade 8. So there was a lot of time there where I was able to have religion classes, have teachers sort of drill a lot of doctrines into me. I was able to recite prayers and creeds and all that kind of stuff in French and in English. Went to school in Canada, so it was required. And it wasn't until grade 5 where my parents got introduced to the Seventh-day Adventist Church. You see, what happened was my aunt and uncle came from Australia, and they told my parents, they're like, hey, did you know that our whole family, like on my mom's side, did you know that we're all like Seventh-day Adventist? And I was like, what? We're what? At some point, it was kind of like cut off. So we had no idea what that was. And I know that I definitely didn't. First of all, I was 10 years old, so a lot of things I did not know when it came to other religions because, like I said, although my family, we weren't like practicing, the stuff that I knew all came from school. So I only knew that there were Catholics. And then we found the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We found one that was located in Toronto and it wasn't too far from us. So we're like, okay, like let's go, we'll check it out. And long story short, my parents ended up getting baptized into that church. And me being 10 and on, I just followed them wherever they went, right? And then I fell in love with Jesus, and then I got baptized in 2009, September 13th. Yes, that's when it was, because I started high school right around the exact same time. And I thought that that was perfect, you know, like new school, new me, like new religious life, and it was good. And the high school I went to after I finished the elementary school, it was a Seventh-day Adventist school. And so I not only had a lot of, I guess, influences at church where I went on the weekends, but also the other 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, that I was going to school. And then I went out to Alberta and I went there for university, which was also a Seventh-day Adventist school. So I was exposed to a lot of people who were Seventh-day Adventists, and most of my friends, I actually want to say all my friends were in the church. They were all Seventh-day Adventists, actually. And after grade 9, I feel like my relationship with God kind of stayed stagnant. Like it was kind of the same. I got really comfortable, and I got really comfortable in high school. I was comfortable throughout university until my last year. My last year of university, oh, I'm not gonna go into detail obviously, but things started happening and it was like a huge realization for me that, oh man, I don't have a relationship with God, or at least I don't have a relationship with God like the one that I thought I originally had. And so I started, you know, going deeper into the Bible. I started like doing more things that involved studies, and after that, surprisingly, I started asking some questions because there were some things that I found didn't really, I want to say, make too much sense to me. And I was totally okay with not understanding everything completely because I'm fully aware that we can't, but who God is was something that I just could not pass up. It was not something that I would just be able to be like, oh, okay, that's a mystery. I don't know who my creator is. Like, I don't know like how to worship him, or not necessarily how to worship him, but who am I worshiping, or who am I supposed to be fearing, right? Because I was reading Revelation 14 where the three angels' message was, and just, I don't know, I just started questioning things. And it's funny because at the same time, my parents were doing the same. And I was like, okay, like, are we onto something here? Like, what's going on? And the reason that I found it kind of strange was it was something that I grew up with, right? I was in the Roman Catholic Church when I was very, very young. I learned about all of their doctrines, and that doctrine of who God was basically the same. And I noticed that it didn't make sense to me when I was younger, and here I am at like 23, and it still didn't make sense to me. So I was like, okay, I need to get into this a little bit more, and I think it's time for me to know. So me and my family, we started asking some people. My family started asking some people at church. I started asking some friends, and we all came back with different ideas of who God was. So we weren't really coming back with the same answer. At some point, I heard something about an egg. Some point, I heard something about liquid, solid, gas. And then I heard something else about a math equation, and I was like, I was a little disappointed because everybody was giving me different answers, and they were all telling each other, no, like that guy's wrong, or no, this guy's wrong, like he doesn't know, or she doesn't know. And I was like, okay, well then who does know? Like, because everybody's saying that about other people. And in the end, I was like, you know what? I can't do this anymore, in a sense of I can't listen to what other people are telling me and hope that I can find an answer in a human. And I was like, I just got to turn to God. I just got to start reading this, and like, let's see what happens. So me and my whole family, we started doing that. And they were watching sermons, and they were making some connections to some people. And then the more I was reading, I was like, there is really only one God. Like, it's very consistent in the Bible and things that I was reading. I was like, there really is only one God. The more I studied it, the more different Bible verses started to come to life for me. I started viewing things in a very different way. John 3:16, very well-known verse, I started looking at it completely differently. I was like, yeah, that relationship, that's a real, like, familial relationship. Like, there's a father, there's a son, like that stuff is real. Jesus was begotten, right? And all these different words, and I just kept studying, and all this kind of stuff started to come alive for me. And I'm gonna quickly share a story, and then I'm going to finish. But I started studying, like I said, and I was at work one day. And while I was at work, I finished some things that I had to do, and I was sitting there with my Bible open, and I don't know what I was in, probably John. I love John, so I read it all the time, but probably in the book of John somewhere. And this one guy comes up to me, and he was an older gentleman that I kind of knew from work. We didn't really know each other too well, but he's like, oh, so what are you doing? He knew I was reading the Bible, but he just struck up a conversation, right? And I was like, oh, I'm just like studying. He's like, well, what are you studying? And I'm like, okay. So I started to tell him. Mind you, before this, I was praying and praying. I was like, God, if this is true, I need you to let me know that I'm going in the right direction. And so back to the story, this was the same day, actually. This was the exact same day. And so I was reading, and we started talking, and he starts telling me how he is a Trinitarian. He forgot what denomination he said he belonged to, but here we were with different ideas and different understanding of what the scripture was saying. And then the more we were talking and talking, he stopped. But right before he had to leave, and he was like, Lydia, he's like, I don't think you should stop studying what you're doing right now. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, because I think you're about to open up something so big, it's about to change your life. And I was like, what? What just happened here? I was like, wow, this guy, like, was used by God to answer my prayer and wanting to keep on studying this more. And so that's exactly what I did. And so here I am now in 2020, 25 years old, and it took 25 years, but oh man, it was so worth it. The amount of things that I've been able to study, the things that Ellen G. White's been saying, sorry, I'm pointing back because all my books are up there, but the things that I've been studying from Ellen G. White, all this stuff is like coming to life for me in a way that it hasn't before. So, I don't know, I just was so like amazed by how God has been answering my prayers over and over again when it comes to this study. And I don't know, I encourage everybody to just no matter what other people have been telling you, to just open up and study for yourself and see what God shows you, because it's absolutely amazing. I also would encourage you, if you don't know where to start, you can head on over to revelationwithdaniel.com, and Pastor Daniel has a whole ton of different Bible studies that you can do. And I don't know, I've been doing them too, and it's awesome. It's awesome. It's a great way to start if you're not too sure. And yeah, that's about it. So thank you very much for tuning in and watching, and yeah, God bless each and every single one of you.